Hey folks, Jim Thomas here, Fitness Management and Consulting, and welcome to our channel today. It's good to have you. And as always, welcome back to our subscribers. It's good to have you all here today. And if you're new to the channel, if you're finding us for that very first time, welcome as well. Please hit the subscribe button while you're here. Please hit that like button. Consider becoming a member. And then to learn more about me, my company, and how we can help save you money and how we can help take your gym to that next level, please check out the links below. So with that said, let's get into our topic today, and it's 6 practical ways to help gym employees get to work on time. Okay, 6 practical ways to get gym employees to get to work on time. And so I know a lot of folks have this as an issue. Folks show up late, and it's kind of chronic. It happens a lot. It's a difficult thing, or can be a difficult thing to address. Particularly if it's a good employee, and now they're showing up late and they're not there on time, can cause some problems. So I want to talk about, 6 thoughts and 6 things you might want to consider to help that situation out. So number 1 on my list, establish expectations early on. Okay. And this to me is probably number 1. Certainly it's number 1 on my list, but really number 1 overall. Set the expectations early on. Make this part of the new hire process. Make this part of the regular training that you do. Okay, it's something that we talk about. I know when I talk about it, if I'm giving a meeting and say someone's scheduled to be at the club at 9, I really want them there at 8:45 because they got to put their stuff away. They probably need to get a cup of coffee. They got to do something else. I want you ready to work at 9. It's not be here at 9, then be ready to work at 9:15. Okay, you want to be here at 8:45. But we want to set these expectations early on. One of the big challenges with people being tardy and people being late, we don't address it until it happens. And I would compare this a little bit. It's kind of like in the sales process. Okay, you pretty much know the customer is going to say, "Hey, I want to think about it." So why not address this on the tour? Mary, how long have you been thinking about this? Oh, ever since college. Oh, great. Okay, we know what they're going to do. Being on time at some point will be an issue. So address these things early on. Okay, let people know. Have them sign off on it. Hey, here's kind of the law of the land. Here's house rules and, basic house rules, proper uniform, language, behavior, must be on time. Go through each one, have them sign off on it. Set expectations early on, regardless, no matter who it is. Okay. Number 2, talk with your staff, train with your staff, train your team. If we're not doing regular training, and certainly I know I talk about this a bit, but use this channel as a great way to train your staff, great way to do it. But we want to train every single day at some level. Management training, assistant manager training, sales training, operations training. We're doing training all the time. Okay, and part of the training is being on time. And I can tell you some of the things that I talk about. When I talk about being on time, to me, it's the first promise that you make to somebody. If you break that promise, it makes me start to question other promises. Okay, but here's the biggie on being on time. When people are late, and this is a training class that we'd be given, right? When people are late, what they're really telling you is this: their time is more important than yours. That's the way they see it, okay? And we need to help them understand that that's really what's happening, and how do we fix that, okay? So have regular training, or even, how did they feel when somebody was late, and how did that affect, what they had to get done, okay? Number 3, offer incentives. Offer incentives. And maybe the incentive isn't to be on time, okay? Maybe you've got a contest going on this month, and it's a sales contest, and the tiebreaker is going to be whoever gets to, if the schedule calls for you to be at 9, whoever gets there at 8:45 or sooner, that's the tiebreaker. Okay, so if it's 20 times in a month, whoever, if they did it all 20, you did it 10, okay, the person that did it 20 times, they win. So you can offer incentives, you can offer some contests, you can be creative with this, okay, and you want to. Because, ultimately what we're trying to do here, we're not trying to make this heavy-handed. We want to create an environment that allows a motivated person to act. Okay. Number 4, don't play favorites. Don't play favorites. Okay, this happens a lot. Okay, and I can go back and think. I remember I was managing a club at one time, and it was a superstar player. This guy, he could sell. He was good as anybody that ever did it, I think, and tons of energy, just great attitude. And he'd wanted to be the weekend manager, and I had some reservations on that just because. I wasn't sure. He was the morning manager, is what he was. He was coming in really early and was doing okay. But he wanted to be the weekend manager, and I wasn't quite sure. But I gave him a shot on a Saturday, and sure enough, first time out of the gate, he came in at noon when he should have been there at 9 or 10. Significantly late. And because we'd had a good history and a lot of conversations, I actually demoted him. Okay, he had to work his way back up. Now, we let him do it in short order as long as everything was right. But don't play favorites. Have a way you go about doing this and do it. But communicate it well. Again, we're not trying to be heavy-handed. We want everyone to be successful. And the people we still love. It's the behavior that maybe we're not too fond of. Number 5, and for some reason this doesn't get considered enough, I don't think, but consider adjusting the schedule. If a person can't make it in at that time, if they're struggling to do it, maybe consider adjusting the schedule. Maybe consider a flex schedule. Change how that scheduling works. Okay, sometimes it can be just simply that. Okay, and then number 6, and I debated, do I want to put this on here? I did. I'll tell you what it is, and we'll talk about it a bit. But consider writing them up. Now, generally, I'm not a fan of that. Okay, generally, I'm not a fan. I know a lot of companies like to do it, and they've got a protocol that they follow. That's why I put it here. Generally, I'm not a fan of that. I've always felt that if we had to write them up, it's probably time for them to go. Okay, if it's gotten to that point, it's probably time for them to go. So I've never been a great fan of it. I know a lot of larger companies like to do it just because that's kind of how their policy, kind of dictates. One of the problems with this is sometimes we go straight to that first. I know I've mentioned this on some other videos. I was in a meeting one time, and it was like my first full meeting with this group. It was a new client at the time. And they had asked me, hey, Jim, can you help me complete a report? We want to be able to write people up when we catch them, doing things wrong. And I remember my response to them, because again, I'm not a great fan of that. I said, well, hey, I'll help you with that form that you want, but what if we do this? What if we write them up for doing something right? What if we write them up for doing something good instead? I'm much more of a proponent of that. So if you have to do this, make it to the very end, but just know it's the behavior we don't like. We like the person, it's the behavior. Consider changing the schedule. Consider how are we training them. How we set expectations. What can we do? Because, at the end of the day, here's what our job description is. Okay? We need to give 100% of our efforts to make our staff as good as they can be. That's our job. To give 100% of our efforts to make our staff as good as they can be. And the second we can no longer do that, that's when it's time to maybe go different directions. Okay, so we want to create that atmosphere, allows a motivated person to act, and we want to give 100% of our efforts to make them as good as they can be. So think about these 6 things. Okay, we're trying to get them to work on time, create that good habit. I love for them to be the first one there. I want them to be the first one there, last one to leave. To me, that really starts to set the stage, for an ideal employee for you. So, folks, my name is Jim Thomas. My company is Fitness Management and Consulting. Appreciate y'all being here at the channel today. And if you've not yet done so, please consider hitting that subscribe button, hit the like button, consider becoming a member, and to learn more about me and numerous ways where you can save money and cut costs, check out the links below, and we'll look forward to seeing y'all in that next video.